Our objective today is factorization as a whole. We're going to be using all types of factorization that we have seen in lessons 9.4, 5, 6, and 7, and in the exercises in the Puissance book. Okay, as we all remember, as an introduction when we started factorization, we had factorization using Gcf, change of signs, a2 minus b2, and trinomials. Gcf could be a variable, a number and a variable, or a parenthesis, which is very important now because most of the time it's going to be a parenthesis. Change of signs, only when we need to make two parentheses similar for us to take them out as common, that's when we use change of signs. Then we have a2 minus b2, which is a binomial. It gives me two parentheses because it has two terms, two parentheses with two different signs. And then we have trinomials where the answer is an a plus b, all of it to the second power, or an a minus b, all of it to the second power. Step number 1, you have to identify how many parts the expression is made up of. It's very important for you to know how many parts the expression is made up of because that's what leads you to factorize correctly. Step number 2, make sure every part has a parenthesis. Step number 3, if we don't have parentheses, that means I need to put the parentheses to see what type of factorization it is. If it's an a2 minus b2, if it's a trinomial, if it's a change of sign or anything. Step number 4, we need to check the last step, always check the last step to see if there is a hidden GCF in the answer. This is always the last step of factorization. Sometimes even after factorization, I can still find out a GCF hidden in the final answer. So these are the main steps we're going to be working with. Always remember how many parts my expression is made up of, and if every part has a parenthesis. If not, I need to put the parenthesis and make sure what type of factorization it is. I tried to find examples from different factorization expressions, okay? And this is what our video is going to be about. The first example is this. First thing I do, step number 1, identify how many parts is my expression. Do I have parentheses there? Yes, I do. I have nothing else to do. So the first part, I have two parts, so I need to find two parentheses that are alike. I have 3y plus 1 and I have a 3y plus 1. I bring it down as one parenthesis. What's left in my expression? I open it in another parenthesis. I start from left to right. What is left? 4x, this went away, minus 8y, this went away. And now I look, this is my final answer. Do I have any common GCF here or here? Yes, I have a GCF here of 4. So I bring the 4 to the outside. 4x divided by 4 is an x, minus 8y divided by 4 is a 2y. And I bring this down as my answer. So my final answer is 4x minus 2y, 3y plus 1. I have factorized the expression. So always remember, everything depends on how many parts the expression has. Now, looking at our second example, again, it's made up of two parts. Where is my common parenthesis? This and this. Bring it down as 1. I do not bring it down 2 times. My common parenthesis goes down as 1. I open a big bracket. From left to right, what's left? This went away. I have 5x minus 1. Keep it in parentheses because you're going to be distributing later on. Bring down the minus, and I have an x plus 1. And now I work with my second parenthesis. 5x minus 1 minus x minus 1. And I start adding and subtracting my like terms. I bring down the 2x minus 3 every step of the way. 2x minus 3. And then 5x minus x is a 4x. Minus 1 is a minus 2. This is my final answer. Again, I asked my question. Do I have any GCF hidden? Each parenthesis on its own? Yes, I have a GCF here of 2. bring it to the outside. 4x divided by 2 is 2x, minus 2 divided by 2 is -1, and I bring down the 2x minus 3. This is my final answer. 2, parenthesis 2x minus 1, parenthesis 2x minus 3. Alright, this is our third example. How many parts is my expression made up of? 1, 2. So I need to have two common parentheses. Where are they? The 2a minus 3 and the 2a minus 3. I bring them down as 1 and I open a big bracket. I start from left to right. What do I have here? There's a 6. After that, there's a parenthesis that went away, but there's another parenthesis, so I bring it down as it is. Bring down the plus sign, again an 18, and I have this parenthesis 2a minus 3 went away, so I bring down the 3a plus 2. Here, this is different in what? That I have distributive property of a number. So I keep on working on my big bracket. 6a plus 42, which is 6 times 7, plus 18 times 3, which is 54a, plus 18 times 2, which is 36. I bring down the first parenthesis as it is. I do not touch it. Again, I bring it down to a minus 3. And now I start adding and subtracting my like terms. 54 plus 6 is 60a. 42 plus 36 is 78. What do I have here in common? Something that it's not a 2 because it should be bigger than that. I think it's a GCF of 6. So if I take 6 to the outside, 60a divided by 6 is 10a plus 78 divided by 6 is 13, and I bring down the 2a minus 3. It doesn't matter whichever way I write the parentheses, I can shuffle them as long as I have the 6 or my GCF always outside at the beginning of the line. Let's look at our second example. Here, again, how many parts is my expression? 1, 2. So I should have common parentheses, but here I don't. I have a 7 minus 2x and an x plus 5. And here I have a 21 minus 6x, 2x minus 1. So I think I have a hidden GCF somewhere here. Usually the first part leads me. What's my GCF in this parenthesis? I have a GCF of 3. What do? I bring down the minus sign and I put the 3 over here. It's the second part of it. 21 divided by 3 is a 7. Minus 6x divided by 3 is a negative 2x. And I rewrite the expression as it is. 7 minus 2x and x plus 5. So I have to be careful. Sometimes if I do not have like parentheses, that means there's a GCF hidden over there. Where's my common parenthesis now? This is one part, this is another. 7 minus 2x, I bring it down as common. And I open a big bracket for what's left. I have an x plus 5, and then minus 3, a parenthesis, 2x minus 1. And I start distributing, adding and subtracting my like terms. X plus 5, minus 3 times 2x is minus 6x, minus 3 times minus 1 is a plus 3. And I bring down the 7 minus 2x, I don't forget it. I bring it down again to my final answer. And I look at what's common. X minus 6x is negative 5x, plus 5 plus 3 is a plus 8. Do I have any GCF in my first parenthesis? No, nothing. In the second parenthesis, nothing. So this is my final answer as it is. Alright, let's look at this example. I do not have parentheses here, but I do have here two parentheses, and there's a minus sign here. So where is my first part of expression? It's all of this. So it's a trinomial. I bring down the negative sign and I bring down the second part of my expression. And I start looking, what does x to the second minus 10x plus 25 represent? I think it's a perfect square. How do I know? X to the second, it's an X. 25 is a 5. Minus and a plus is a minus. All of this to the second power. How do I check? I check it on the side. It's 2 times A times B, which is 2 times X times 5, which is 10X. Yes, it is correct. So this is my answer. Now I have this part and this part. What does X minus 5 to the second power mean? It's an X minus 5 and an X minus 5. It's made up of two parentheses. I need to write them down because I cannot take both of them from one part of the expression as common. I should take only one. Minus X minus 5 to X plus 3. How many parts is it? 1, 2. Two common parentheses. X minus 5, X minus 5. Bring it down. Open a big bracket. Start from left to right. X minus 5 minus 2X plus 3. And I start opening my bracket. X minus 5 minus 2X. I am distributing my negative sign. Minus 3. And I bring down my first parenthesis as it is. And now X minus 2X is a negative X. Minus 5 minus 3 is a negative 8. And I bring down my first parenthesis. Do I have any GCF within my parentheses? None. This is my final answer.